I did just want to let you all know, if you do need a hearing device, they are now available in the back where they're usually located. So please help yourself if you do need one of those. Sorry that they weren't here when you first came in. But welcome. Welcome to our quarterly residential living meeting. To quickly go over our agenda for today, my name's Monique Cole, and I'll be sharing some campus-specific updates with you today. We have Sandra Courier, who's going to bring some residential living-specific updates. Alex Metricardi is going to share advancement updates. And then we have Susan Shade, who's going to be introducing some new residents, or her team will be introducing some new residents with us today. And then Ed Brubaker is going to share a report for Living Branches, and then also bring our time together with a close. So first, I'd like to begin our time together in prayer. So if you'll join me. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you with grateful hearts. Thank you for the gifts of this day and for Souderton Mennonite Homes, a place where residents find comfort, belonging, and team members discover purpose and joy in serving others. As we enter this winter season, may it be a time of rest, renewal, and reflection. Help us to embrace the quiet moments and see your hand at work in the stillness. Lord, as a new year approaches, fill us with hope and anticipation of what lies ahead. Teach us to make space in our busy lives to listen to your voice and follow your guidance. May your wisdom shape our decisions, and may your love guide our actions in all we do. We place this day and the year to come in your hands, trusting that you will lead us faithfully. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. And I always like to kick us off with a little humor. So my corny joke of the meeting is, what do snowmen eat for breakfast? You can shout it out. Snowflakes. Very good. Very, very good. See, I knew somebody would get it. All right. So today, with my time in sharing updates with you, I'm going to talk about a new point of sale system that we'll be implementing. I want to talk a little bit about the option to place work orders on the portal, share some campus-specific project updates, and share a few winter reminders with you as well. So specifically around the point of sale, so we'll be rolling out, we call it a point of sale system here on our Souderton campus in March. And this will be a system that's in our gift shop, our Apple Orchard Cafe, and also in our hair salon. So the system will allow you to charge your services and items from those areas directly to your bill via your badge. Okay, so you'll be able to use your badge where you go for those purchases of services. It eliminates the need to pay via credit card, so it avoids credit card fees, and it also removes the need for anyone to handle cash. We are targeting our salon area to be cashless, with exceptions of tips if preferred. Otherwise, they can be added to your account as well. You'll be also able to tip using your badge through this system in the Apple Orchard Cafe if you wish. And then you'll also have the ability when you're visiting our friends over at the Dock Woods campus to use your badge in their venue areas as well. So their gift shop, the bistro, and also Christopher's, the fine dining experience. You'll be able to use your badge over there as well. And then eventually, we do envision expanding to online ordering in our cafe through this system as well. But that'll be at some point in the future. We'll get through our first line of rollout. And just to share with you, our Dockwoods campus has already implemented this system, and they're kind of working through the kinks for us. So we'll have that as an advantage as well, that we're kind of working through some adjustments already at our Dockwoods campus. So there'll be more to come and information that rolls out as we get closer to that March timeframe. To talk a little bit about work orders and the option to place them on the portal. So just a quick, how many people are getting into the portal, using it? You have a login, you're kind of experiencing it. It's a pretty good group of people. So just to share, we are currently placing work orders via the portal. So some of you are embracing that and doing that. About 15% of the time we're utilizing the portal to place those. And then in the last 30 days alone, there's some details on this slide specific to the Souderton campus. 49 work orders were placed that way, and over at our Dockwoods campus, we had 81. To talk a little bit about the benefits that you could experience from placing a work order via the portal. The work order can be placed anytime, even outside of business hours, and the system will allow you to enter details directly, reducing miscommunication that can happen when you're talking to someone over the phone. In the work order portal system, you can also see history, progress, and completion without having to call for updates. So those are a few benefits you can experience. For those of you that are using it or thinking about using it, some reminders: you want to kind of keep the description short, and each issue that maybe you're describing, it will need its own work order to be placed. So if you are utilizing the work order, or if you're utilizing the portal for other things, I would encourage you to give it a try and see if it's something that you kind of warm up to, knowing that it has some different benefits to it. So, to share some project updates that we've been working on here on the Souderton campus, we did wrap up the lower level elevator work back in December, and we appreciate everyone's understanding during that time. We recognize that it did impact many residents' routines. They had to pick a different pathway, maybe to get down to the fitness center or those different services that are provided down there. So we're glad to have this work accomplished, creating a very reliable travel method to the different floors for many, many years to come. So just wanted to take a moment and appreciate everybody's understanding as we redid that elevator. And we're working towards implementation of what we would call phase 1 of our exterior camera placement. So the scope of that camera placement is focused on main and secondary entryways within our Souderton campus. So we do have the ability to record footage for up to 30 days. The project will enhance our campus security features and will provide clarity to investigating events that would occur in those areas. And we have run the cabling for the external camera project already, and the equipment has been ordered. So we'll send out a memo of communication at the time that we're looking to install it. So that'll go through more details of the placement of the cameras and what we can expect during that time. So we'll know more once the equipment arrives, and then we coordinate the work. And then we are working through a process to identify a vendor to replace our lower level stair tower material from carpet to a rubberized material. So the current carpet in the stair tower at that lower level is, there's some stained areas that just aren't coming clean, and it's starting to show its wear. It gets used quite a bit. So more information will come there because that could impact some individuals' routines as well when that is out of service for that replacement. And then, oh, we jumped a slide. Then the other thing that we're anticipating here in the spring is converting the pavilion fireplace from wood to gas. Hopefully, we're anticipating hopefully being able to do that in the spring when the pavilion opens back up for residents to use that area for that purpose of ambiance and sitting around the fireplace in the pavilion. And then to my winter reminders, with winter upon us and having already cleaned up our fair share of snow and ice, we definitely got into a practice early on, I'd say. We wanted to share just a few tips. I think number one, please be patient and kind. Our team's working hard to get our roadways, driveways, sidewalks cleared and salted. We have a large campus and it takes time. So just being patient with us and understanding as we work through that is greatly appreciated. During weather events, consider the need to go out. Can it wait? Could you get what you need from the corner store? So there's some basic things that are in our corner store that maybe if you had a trip planned to the grocery store, maybe you could get some items from there. Is your appointment still on, or is the office closed? Or could you reschedule if it does happen to be open? And if you need your driveway prioritized due to medical needs or some urgent reason to get out, please give us a call and we'll prioritize it. We'll make sure it gets on the list at the top. But definitely would say, when in doubt, don't go out. Think about it. The last thing you want to do is have a slip or a fall. Our campus roadways are likely going to be cleared before the township roads. We're focused on our campus, and the township has a very large scope and area to clean up. So when you see our campus and you see maybe the roads are clear, that does not automatically assume that the township or even further out has cleared roads. So something to always just keep in mind. We have many hands at work in a smaller proximity across our campus than what the township resources have. So please just keep that in mind as well. The other area we like to tend to focus on this time of year are germs, right? So it's the germ season is well upon us, and we've already had experienced a COVID outbreak and a flu outbreak as well on our campus. So we are in full swing, I should say. And that's not necessarily surprising. We get updates from our local hospitals, and they've seen high cases coming in through the emergency rooms and urgent care as well. So when the greater community has upticks in these areas, we'll naturally see that as well. So just some best defense to germs is good hand hygiene. Washing your hands with soap and water often and always before you eat. Vaccinations are also important. And it's not too late. Talk to your healthcare provider if you wish to get vaccinated and you haven't already done so. It's never too late to get your vaccines. If you are starting with a cold, so cough, congestion, sore throat, sit it out. Don't spread germs. Limit your footprint while experiencing these symptoms. If you do have to go out, consider wearing a mask. Be considerate of the people that you'll be around or you'll come across, and consider putting a mask on. But oftentimes a cold can lead to other things like COVID, like the flu, like RSV, etc. So if you're starting with cold symptoms, just remember it could lead to more than that. So consider staying home, limiting your footprint, and just taking care of yourself, making sure you have that self-care and that rest. And then my final reminder is related to residential living financial updates. So the year 2026, is the year that we do our residential living financial update. So we do follow a 3-year cycle with collecting financial information. So this is something that is covered within your agreements, and you are required to participate in this review process. So the last time we would have completed these updates, if you were here in 2023, you would be familiar with the process, or if you've been here much longer than that, you're familiar with that we go through this process every 3 years. We anticipate sending out information mid-March for you to begin gathering the financial information needed to complete the paperwork, with a goal of submitting that back to us in April. So should you have any questions, you can certainly reach out to Sandra directly, but she'll be reviewing those and following up with questions as needed for that process. But if you have questions, please just let us know. And then next up, we've got Sandra with some residential living updates. So I welcome her.
Good afternoon and Happy New Year. Okay, as many of you are aware, we've worked pretty diligently in residential living in the last couple of years to increase awareness and provide education on scams and frauds, especially those targeting seniors. This said, there is a phone call or email you will receive that we want you to know is not a scam. It's a We Care Connect survey. So it's our Living Branches wants to ask for your feedback, and staff members receive these surveys as well. And this is done with the goal of continuously improving our service to all of you. The surveys are not anonymous, which allows us to follow up directly with anybody who raises a concern or a question. And as I said, they're called We Care Connect surveys. If you're new to the community, you receive the surveys at 2 weeks, 45 days, 6 months, and 1 year, and every 6 months thereafter. So if you are someone who has lived here for a while, you should be receiving those surveys about every 6 months. The phone calls come from AES, and it has a phone number with a 231 area code. This will show up as a Michigan area code. Text messages come from a number with 833, which is a non-geographic area code. And emails come on behalf of noreply@livingbranches.org. The calls and texts should only be made between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., and the survey shouldn't take more than 3 minutes to complete, and it is not a scam. Some of you have called me to check on this, particularly when you see that Michigan number. I will never fault anyone for following through and calling me. We instruct you to do that with other things that you think could be fraudulent, and I'm sorry for any confusion this causes, but we do value your feedback and appreciate when you participate in the surveys. While we work to fill the residential living social work position, Heather Scattergood will be picking up additional hours to keep us up to date with the annual home visits that Leah had been doing. You can call me with any questions or concerns that you might have gone to Leah with before. I do plan to assist with rent rebate forms and produce vouchers, so if you've participated in either of those programs in particular in the past, please give me a call to get the appropriate forms. And just to note that rent rebate forms and the PA 1000 will be released later this week, so I will be able to print copies out. I want to talk about trips and activities briefly. Sometimes trips or activities require us to purchase advance tickets or put in a reservation with dining services, and we've had residents who need to cancel last minute. Unfortunately, when that happens, we have to charge a fee for that trip or activity. We've experienced this with our trips and in terms of activities, particularly with the residential living dinners. The only exceptions that we can make is if there is somebody on the waiting list that can fill your spot. Understandably, illness happens and other things come up, but the RL budget can't support the cancellations. And please remember to submit annual physician clearances to Kristen. If you're not sure when your last clearance is dated, ask Kristen. She'll be happy to check, and she can provide you with a blank clearance if it's due. Taking this to your annual physicals or annual doctor appointments is a nice, convenient time to ask your doctor to complete and sign it. Having this up to date in our system allows you to continue to use the fitness center here on our campus and also the pool over at Dock Woods. And lastly, if you receive updated insurance cards, Part D or Part A, please stop by Janice's office so that she can make a copy for our records. Keeping the cards up to date in our system allows for seamless access to services, particularly therapy, if you choose to have in-house therapy. I will be around after the meeting if you have questions about anything I've talked about. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So nice to see you. As has become our tradition, I shall start with a small joke. A man walks into the library and asks the librarian, "Do you have any books on paranoia?" She whispers to him, "They're right behind you." All right, and for those who didn't hear my whisper, the librarian said to the man, "They're right behind you. That's where the books on paranoia are." All right, you don't look terribly impressed with that, which is probably fair. All right, I have just a couple of updates that I wanted to share with you. First, this is fun facts from the sales team. I don't know that this fact is actually fun, but I couldn't really think of a better header. I thought it's been interesting to see the turnover rates that we have at both of our organizations, meaning both Souderton Mennonite Homes and Dock Woods in residential living. And essentially what this is showing us is that for both organizations, generally somewhere between 6% and about 13% of our residential living residences turn over in any particular year. Sometimes I have residents who are asking me, "Wow, it seems like there have been so many people who've been leaving this year. Is this normal? What's going on?" And I just thought it was an interesting graphic to share that shows that these things really do go up and down pretty regularly, and that there's not necessarily a lot of rhyme or reason. So if it feels like there's more people leaving residential living in a particular year, that might be true, but then that probably just means that next year we won't experience that same velocity of folks leaving. So just a little tidbit. And then I wanted to share from a fund development perspective. Thank you to those of you who have responded to our annual year-end appeal. I had this little thermometer made by ChatGPT, which is the AI that we've all been hearing about. And I like to do this periodically to test how good it's getting. So on the first hand, when you look at this thermometer, it looks pretty fun. They made it red. It's definitely the shape of the thermometer. They've got our goal there. But when you look at it more closely, you can see that the numbers are completely out of order at the top. So I say this in some ways as a reminder to you to just be a little suspicious of things that you see in print and check to make sure whether they actually make sense, because more and more and more organizations are using AI for things, and it's not always accurate. In this case, when I did this on Friday, we were almost at our goal of $90,000 for our year-end appeal for benevolent care across living branches. That's for all three of our funds. And Colin tells me that he's got a couple of more gifts that have come in, and so by the time this week ends, we should be over our goal. So thank you very much to all of you who've helped us achieve that. It's greatly appreciated. And then I also wish to remind you that this week is registration for Living You. Registration opens the 14th, which I believe is Thursday, and that means that the 13th, which is Wednesday, here in the SVA, we are going to be having some of the speakers come in and give a little preview about what their courses are going to be about. So if you've not had the opportunity yet to participate in a Living You session, I hope you do have the opportunity to do that. There are a wide range of courses that are being offered each semester. This year, some of our fun ones, we're going to celebrate 250 years of Jane Austen. David Hudiak, who is one of our most popular professors, is coming back to talk about the Civil War, the beginning of the Civil War. There's a field trip to Chanticleer Garden. And then we have a class on the universe through the eyes of a Christian astronomer. And fun fact, that particular Christian astronomer happens to be Dr. David Bradstreet, who teaches at Eastern University, which is where I went. And he was one of my most favorite professors when I was there. So I keep telling Mary Beth I'm going to try to sneak out and see if I can get to that class because he's excellent. But we've got about 20 other classes that are being offered, something for everyone. So if you have a chance, I hope you're able to attend. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Susan Shade, and I'm part of the Welcoming Committee. And if you saw on the agenda, we have quite a list of new residents that have come in for the past few months. So we'll start right away introducing them. For those of you that are going to be introduced, if you feel comfortable when you see your picture, you are free to stand up so that we know you're here, or wave or something along that line. So we will start on the first floor. First up is Joanne Nice. There she is. And she moved here in August from Moorwood. And she has a son, a daughter, and 2 granddaughters and 2 step-grandsons. She was the administrative assistant for Satterton Mennonite Church. She volunteers at the Mennonite Resource Center with the Worm Project and Reach to Recovery. She enjoys walking, quilting, socializing with others. She participates in our weekly seated volleyball classes. An interesting tidbit about Joanne was once when she was waitressing at the University Hospital of Cleveland, she served Dr. Benjamin Spock, the famous child psychologist of the 50s and the 60s. Welcome, Joanne. Next are Clyde and Doris Huntsberger. There they are in the front row. They moved in on the first floor in July. They moved here from Allentown Road in Telford. Doris is from a family of 12 children, and she has 2 sisters and a sister-in-law who currently still live here at Satterton Mennonite Home. Clyde worked at Hatfield Packing for 44 years prior to his retirement. They have 3 children, 2 sons and a daughter. 1 son lives in Kansas, and the others are more local. Clyde enjoys gardening, and Doris enjoys cake decorating, and they both enjoy playing games, and I believe they both participate in our weekly Tuesday night game night. So welcome to you both. Next are Bob and Rose Moyer, also on the first floor. They moved here from the Harleysville area in September. They have a daughter, a son, and a grandson. Rose's mother, Blanche Althouse, also lives here at Souderton. They are members of the Percy Mennonite Church. Rose worked at the Mennonite Heritage Center, and she enjoys reading and walking, being with friends and family, and participates in game nights. Bob also enjoys reading, singing, listening to podcasts, and he participates in the weekly volleyball sessions. Welcome to you. Next is Nancy Little. Moved on to the second floor now. She moved here in November from the Buckingham area. She has 4 sons and 7 grandchildren, and she worked as a postal clerk. She enjoys gardening and playing cards, and also participates Tuesday night game nights. So welcome, Nancy. Ruth Yoder moved in December, and she's over here. She is from the Hilltown, Percy area. She grew up next door to the Penview Farms on Broad Street, which I call in Hilltown, which her brothers owned. And they provide milk to many local stores, as well as like the old Dutch cupboard. She has 1 son and 1 daughter, 5 grandchildren, and 4 great-grandchildren. She's taught in the Penridge School District, and she enjoys cooking and reading, and she also attends Blooming Glen Mennonite Church. Welcome. Next are Glenn and Sylvia Durstein. They are from the Souderton area, and they moved in December. They have 2 daughters and a son, and 12 grandchildren. Glenn was a truck driver, and Sylvia a secretary at Souderton Mennonite Church. Glenn mows grass at Dock Mennonite Academy, and Sylvia volunteers at Care and Share. Glenn enjoys doing puzzles, and Sylvia enjoys quilting and sewing patchwork. And they have been a part of the Spruce Lake camp for over 50 years. Also, Sylvia's sister is our very own Elaine Clemmer. Welcome to you. Also on the second floor is Sue Miller, right here in the front row. And she moved here from Telford, but she grew up near Cleveland, Ohio. Her father, Dave Miller, also lives here, and he is also on the second floor. She has 2 sisters, a brother, 7 nieces and nephews, and 2 great-nephews. She was an RN and also volunteer manager at Care and Share. She's a member of the Souderton Mennonite Church, and she volunteers at the Senior Center. She enjoys traveling, reading, thrifting, and spending time with family and friends. On her bucket list includes, one of the items on her bucket list includes attending every Mennonite Central Committee relief sale in the U.S. Good for you. Welcome. Moving on to the third floor, Lydia Davis moved here in June. Unfortunately, she's not feeling well and is not in attendance. She's also from the Telford-Souderton area. She has 2 children, 5 grandchildren, and 6 great-grandchildren. She loves spending time with her family and friends, and she enjoys puzzles, baking, and gardening. We welcome you and hope you're feeling better soon. Next on the third floor is Blanche Reed, and she moved here from in the end of August, was local from Souderton area. She was a baker, and she enjoys playing games. Welcome, Blanche. Nancy Aldifer is also from the Souderton area and moved here in July. She has a son and a daughter, a number of grandchildren and great-grandchildren. She is a regular also on Tuesday evening game nights. Welcome. And last on the third floor is Shirley Moyer, who moved here in August. She's from the Harleysville area. She has 3 sons and daughter-in-laws, 9 grandchildren. Now, wait for it. 22 great-grandchildren. Her husband, Claude, was a butcher, and together they owned and operated a fresh meat stand in the Olney Farmers Market. Later, they owned and operated a children's boutique in Springhouse, which was one of my favorite places to shop for my grandchildren. So, after she and her husband retired, they spent time in Florida as snowbirds and enjoyed taking cruises. Shirley attends Covenant Community Fellowship Church, and she enjoys knitting, playing games, and spending time with her family. Welcome, Shirley. And last of new residents to be introduced today is Ruth Hess, and she also was unable to attend today. She's from Flowertown. She has a sister and a brother and a mini poodle named Wilbur. She was a teacher. She enjoys reading, early American history, and collecting antique bottles. She apparently had quite a large collection of bottles prior to her moving here. Her first few weeks when she moved here were quite eventful. Unfortunately, she fell, ended up in the hospital, broke her hip, and ended up in healthcare. But I hear she's on the mend and doing quite well now, so welcome, Ruth. So these are our newest residents. I hope now some of them have been here for a while, so you may already know them, but if not, please reach out and introduce yourself. And as always, I'd like to thank the mentors who work in greeting and providing information and assisting our newer residents. Our current mentors are Diane Alexander, Ruth Ann Moyer, Lois Kearns, Donna Weiss, Mary Stoneback, Doris Texler, and Betsy Smith. So thank you very much. And now I'll turn the remainder of the meeting over to Ed Brubaker.
Well, thank you, Susan. Quite a list of new residents to welcome today. So welcome to all of you who have recently moved in to Souderton Mennonite Homes. It's great to have you part of the family here at Souderton. Well, I wanted to give some updates on things that are happening within Living Branches. Give you some updates with things we're working on in our strategic plan. Some of those things have to do with buildings. Some of those things have to do with team member building and also building within resident community and building community with each of you as well. Well, this picture on this particular slide is actually a picture of an under construction resident bathroom in the new healthcare wing that we're renovating currently. And so we are working on the area that we used to call Front Hall and Parkview, and we're almost doing a complete gut renovation of that, going down to the stud walls and moving walls to create, there will be 8 private rooms within what used to be a Front Hall and Parkview. It's always interesting what you run into when you do renovation work. And this particular project was no different. If you see in the restroom here, or the bathroom here, if you can see on the left-hand side, there's a shower area. This would be called what we call a European bathroom, although I heard one time that somebody from Europe said, "Why do you keep calling them European bathrooms? We don't have bathrooms like that over here." So I don't know, some architect might have thought that sounded fancy or something like that. But what it means is the shower part of the bathroom is part of the main bathroom. There'll be a curtain around it, but it just makes it easier to maneuver wheelchairs and take care of residents in there. And it's much nicer to be able to have the shower facilities within the bathroom itself. One of the things that means then is you have to have appropriate slopes in the floor to take the water to the drain, right? Well, one of the things we didn't realize that the concrete floor in that area was not thick enough to be able to grind it down to get the slope. So we basically had to raise the rest of the floor in the entire area of that building so that we could get the slopes in the bathroom. But it's things you don't realize until you actually take the building apart and deconstruct it for renovations. And it's one of the fun things in facilities. And as they say, it's only money. But it's not only money, it's time too, and how long projects take. So that did add some time to this particular project. But the project is coming along very nicely, and we hope to complete and move people in to that area in March of this year, in March of 2026. Then the final renovation will take place in what we call the Rambler hallway. We are looking at new names for the hallways. It was interesting when I first came to Souderton Mennonite Homes many years ago when Living Branches was formed, and I didn't know if it was named after an automobile or what it was, the Rambler hallway, but I was told later that actually the Rambler is a quilt pattern, as are magnolias and various other things, and that's what we were following. But for me, some of you may have known that. For me, I didn't realize that Rambler was a quilt pattern. But we do intend to come up with 2 new names for the hallways in the nursing center to complement Serenata Healthcare, which would be, of course, our memory care units. So we'll plan to start that Rambler hallway, and that's going to be a complete gut renovation too, that will be creating primarily private rooms in that hallway as well. And so we're going to do a major renovation there, and that we anticipate starting in March and probably taking about 6 months till September of this year. We also, if you do ever get to the nursing center, may have noticed that the Magnolia hallway is completely redone, looks a lot different than what it did previously. And we also intend to eventually renovate the rooms in the Magnolia hallway, but that will take place over the next number of budget periods. These next pictures with the lights in here may be a little difficult to see, but on the left-hand side would be what was in the previous Parkview memory care unit. It's a renovated area where food service will serve food to residents in the dining room that will be adjacent. And on the right-hand side is an example of what will be a private room in that area. So, as I said, it's coming along nicely, and it will really create wonderful new spaces. I've reflected to some people that probably of all the projects I've done over my career in Living Branches, these last projects were probably among the most satisfying. And the reason for that is it is in a level of care where our residents who live there aren't always as able as you in this room to advocate for themselves and to look at what is special accommodations for them. And so they also happen to pay the most of any level of service within Living Branches. But I know on our Dock Woods campus and now at Souderton as well, in the new Serenata healthcare units and personal care units, it's really been wonderful to watch the interaction that happens between families, residents, team members. There's a lot of light in the space. The colors are cheerful. It really, truly does, I think, make a difference in the lives of the persons living there, and we're very pleased to be able to do this. 2 updates on residential living expansion on this campus, adjacent on the Durstein property, and then also at Dock Woods. Dock Woods is on the left-hand side of this slide, and it is a small apartment building is what we're calling it. It's actually called the Laurels at Dock Woods is the name. These units are going to be a bit larger than some that we have in Living Branches currently. And we're starting some pre-marketing for that, have a number of persons who have signed up and shown interest in those areas at Dock Woods, in the Laurels. And we do hope to begin this summer, if at all possible. That will be dependent on how quickly the next items go through the township. We're in Tomenson Township there. We happen to be in Franconia Township here at Souderton, and we just need to work through the process. They are favorable to the project, but we just need to cross all the Ts and dot the Is as we work at that. Here at Souderton then, we call it the Durstein property. It happens to be because we bought it from the Dursteins. It's next to Durstein Sandblasting. We're looking at doing 69 duplex units. I think there's about 7 singles as part of that total of 69 units. And we are working through, again, the process with the township. I would say things are moving again with them. And we hope, if we don't get started this year, that we'll get started early part of 2027. So over the next number of years, we'll be able to welcome many new residents here at this campus at Souderton, but also at the Dock Woods campus as well. So we're really pleased to be able to do that. Another area that we've been working on is team member engagement. Some of you may have heard about the Bee and Daisy Awards. Bee Awards are for persons who are non-nursing. The Daisy Award is for persons who are nurses, LPNs, or RNs in serving in those areas. It was actually started in hospitals, and we've brought it here to retirement communities, and other retirement communities as well have done this. It's a way to recognize team members for their excellent work. And we had, I can't remember the exact count, but it was probably 60 or 70 persons that were nominated. We're going to have 2 that we choose, ultimately one for a Bee Award and one for a Daisy Award. But it's a way to really recognize persons that go above and beyond and provide great service to you, our residents in residential, personal care, or in healthcare. And so thanks to you. Some of you may have submitted nominations for the awards. Thanks if you did that, and we'll be announcing them. I believe it is sometime in February. I haven't read all the stories yet, but as part of the process, I'll be reading them. And it's really heartwarming, frankly, to read the different ways in which persons nominated team members for the work they do and the care that they show each and every day. So again, thank you to those of you who had submitted nominations. The other area is mentors. We are currently piloting a new and updated mentoring program here at Souderton in healthcare, at Dock Woods in personal care, and at the Willows in dining services. We're running a pilot program. The mentors have been identified and trained. They've been matched with new team members, and here in the next months, we'll evaluate that pilot, tweak it, try to make it better, and then roll it out across all of Living Branches. This would be mentors being provided for persons who are in the first 90 days or 150 hours of their employment with us. It's really a way to try to be even more diligent about welcoming new team members. I've worked here a long time, so it's been a while since I was the new team member. But it's a little bit like entering first grade, right? Maybe that's how it is for new residents too. Maybe not first grade for new residents, but you're coming in, you're trying to understand where people park, where they sit in the dining room, if you have a dining room. There's so many different things. Or for team members, where do they take their break? Where do they put their purse or coat when they come in? Just all those little things that make a difference as to how people are welcomed. And so we want to keep doing an even better job with our team with the goal of helping people find this as a place that can be a place that they can work for as long as they choose to. We also are working at welcoming residents as well, and this is maybe not quite the family we're intending, but I thought we'd have a little humor here. Here's Marlon Brando welcoming people in The Godfather to the family. Welcome to the family. Of course, some people do talk about the Mennonite Mafia in this area, I guess, too, but nonetheless, it's how can we think about ways to welcome new residents coming in. And certainly what we did today was a great example of ways that we can get to know new people that are moving in a bit better. I know on the Dock Woods campus, they have some lunches where they are getting together and having people that can just show up to the lunch and eat together. We do have a residential dining room on the Dock Woods campus, so it's a little bit different than this campus. But again, it's how do we find ways to welcome the new person and get them engaged in activities, get them involved. And I would say this is no different than, as I said, with team members, right? How do we welcome people? It's probably no different than churches. How do we welcome those new people into the church? Rotary Club, we talk about it there. How do we welcome new people and get them involved? It's about helping people feel comfortable and feel like this is their community, a place that they can feel at home and be accepted and enjoy life together. So we want to continue to do that. Again, probably not quite in the way that they did it in The Godfather when they welcomed you to the family. Well, thank you for being here today. Hopefully these times of updates can be useful to you as you hear what we're working on in Living Branches, what we're working on here at Souderton Mennonite Homes as well, so that you too can feel part of the family and what's happening in our organization. So with that, I will conclude our meeting and thank you again for being here and hope you have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.